That morning, the sky was a dull gray, mirroring Marissa Hale's mood. For the past 6 months, sudden cramps had struck her lower abdomen, sometimes so sharp they forced her to double over. But every time she complained, her husband, Dr. Leonard Hale, a well-known gynecologist, would simply smile and tell her it was just normal hormonal changes at 40. Marissa didn't believe him, and that instinct led her to the clinic of Dr. Grant Whitford, a respected specialist in the suburban medical district. She quietly booked an appointment, telling no one, not because she meant to do anything wrong, but because she didn't want Leonard to know. In the cold, bright ultrasound room, Dr. Whitford moved the transducer slowly, his eyes fixed on the screen. Marissa noticed his brow tense, an expression she had never seen on other doctors. Not curiosity, no surprise, something heavier. He switched off the machine, set the probe aside, and turned his chair toward her. "Ms. Hale," he said, his voice low but steady. "Who treated you before this? And what exactly did they do to you?" Marissa froze for a moment. "My husband," she answered. "He's a gynecologist." A beat of silence followed. Dr. Whitford's expression shifted. Not confusion, but the look of a man who had just confirmed a suspicion. At last, he spoke plainly. "There is something inside your body that should not be there. We need to run tests immediately." A chill ran down Marissa's spine. She barely had time to ask anything before the doctor stood up and called a nurse to prepare an emergency testing kit. In that very moment, the steady life she thought she knew began to crack. Before we continue peeling back the deeper layers of this story, if you appreciate true life accounts filled with warnings and valuable lessons, consider following this channel. When you subscribe, YouTube will prioritize sending you important stories meant for every family. Marissa sat on the edge of the exam bed, her hands gently squeezing a crumpled tissue. Outside, noon had already risen, but the room held only the chill of the air conditioner and the slow rhythm of her own heartbeat. A young nurse entered, quietly drew blood, and left just as quickly. No one spoke much. The silence was so complete she could hear the scratch of a pen writing on a chart in the next room. A few minutes later, Dr. Whitford returned. His face was calm, but that calmness only made Marissa more uneasy. He placed the results on the desk and turned the ultrasound monitor toward her. "Do you see this dark spot?" he asked. "It isn't natural tissue, it's a device, and this type was banned more than 10 years ago." Marissa stared at the image. A small, misshapen dark blot sat in the middle of otherwise uniform tissue. She swallowed hard. "You mean an IUD?" "Correct," he said. "A model called AstraShield. It caused many severe complications. Its metal often triggered inflammation, tissue damage, and increased cancer risk. That's why it was pulled off the market." Marissa shook her head instinctively. "I've never had an IUD. I'm afraid of them. I would never agree to something like that." "That makes it more concerning," the doctor replied, "because this device cannot appear on its own. Someone placed it inside you when you were either unable to consent or were not fully informed." The words hit Marissa like someone had yanked the floor from beneath her. She tried to recall every procedure, every sedation, every exam over the years. Then a memory surfaced. 7 years ago, the appendectomy Leonard insisted on performing at his private clinic instead of the public hospital. She had believed he simply wanted to take good care of his wife. Dr. Whitford continued, "The device has been inside you for a long time. The surrounding tissue shows severe damage. I've already asked the surgical team to prepare an emergency operating room. We need to remove it as soon as possible." Marissa felt her breath turn shallow. "Does this mean I have cancer?" "We can't say yet," he answered, his tone gentle but firm about the seriousness. "But there are precancerous signs. We'll biopsy the tissue after removal. What matters is that you came in at the right time." She lowered her head, her hands ice cold. One question kept looping in her mind. Who did this to me? And why? Marissa thought of Leonard. On some occasions, he insisted she didn't need to be examined elsewhere, the way he kept all her medical records locked in a drawer. Of the pain, he dismissed it as nothing unusual. At that moment, she still didn't dare reach a conclusion, but a small seed of suspicion had taken root, and within just a few hours it would grow too large to ignore. Marissa was brought into the pre-anesthesia room in the early afternoon. Everything happened so quickly that she managed to hold on to only one thought: I need to know the truth. She looked around, noticing the professional faces of the surgical team. No one appeared alarmed, yet all wore the same focused expression, as if handling something requiring great caution. Dr. Celeste Harmon, the lead surgeon, stepped to the bedside. She was around 50, with steady eyes and a remarkably calm voice. "We'll remove the device as soon as possible," she said. "Just relax. When you wake up, you'll understand your condition more clearly." Marissa nodded faintly. The anesthesia began to spread. She closed her eyes and let everything drift. When the surgery began, Dr. Harmon reviewed the ultrasound results and Dr. Whitford's notes as she worked. Upon reaching the area containing the foreign object, she paused for several seconds. The IUD was positioned deeper than expected. The metal was corroded, darkened, and tightly embedded in the tissue. Part of the uterine wall surrounding it showed signs of prolonged inflammation. "We need to be extremely careful," she told the team. "The tissue is severely damaged." They worked slowly. The IUD was removed in stages to minimize further tissue damage. When the final piece was extracted and placed into a sterile container, everyone understood why Marissa had been in so much pain for so many years. AstraShield, an IUD once notorious for its precancerous complications, now lay motionless in a small plastic box, its surface rough and darkened. Dr. Harmon ordered immediate biopsies on the suspicious tissue areas. The preliminary lab results indicated a high level of cellular damage. She reviewed the report silently, but her expression made it clear how serious the situation was. Marissa awoke in the recovery room with a heavy feeling in her head. It took several seconds for her to realize the surgery was over. Dr. Harmon stood beside her, holding a report. "The operation was successful," she said. "We removed the device, but the biopsy shows you have grade 3 dysplasia. It's not cancer yet, but if the device had remained any longer, the risk would have been very high." Marissa tried to stay composed. "Why was it inside me for so long without my knowledge?" Dr. Harmon placed the box on the table. Inside, the dark foreign object was clearly visible under the light. This type of device is typically inserted when the patient is under full anesthesia. If someone wanted to place it without your awareness, they could have chosen a time like another surgical procedure. The words struck Marissa hard. "The appendectomy 7 years ago. Leonard had been there from start to finish." Dr. Harmon continued, "Because this device was banned and inserted without your consent, the hospital is required to alert the authorities. A female investigator will speak with you this evening." Marissa nodded slightly. She wasn't ready to face what might come next, but she knew she could no longer avoid it. The truth had begun to surface, and it would not stop. Marissa sat upright when a knock sounded at the door. A woman in a suit entered, introducing herself as Investigator Rhea Donovan. Her voice was calm, never forceful, yet firm enough for Marissa to understand this was no longer a private family matter. "I need to ask you a few questions," she said. "The purpose is to determine whether there are signs of criminal behavior." Marissa nodded. She wasn't sure where to begin, but she tried to keep her breathing steady. Investigator Donovan opened a small notebook. "Can you tell me about any significant medical procedures you've undergone in the past 10 years? Marissa recounted each one, stopping at the appendectomy 7 years ago. Leonard had insisted the surgery take place at his private clinic, under his direct supervision and with his own staff. She remembered being put under deep anesthesia, and everything afterward was hazy. Investigator Donovan took notes quickly. "Do you recall who controlled your medical records?" "Leonard," Marissa replied. "All the records were kept at his clinic. I never saw the originals." Did he ever discourage you from seeking additional care elsewhere? Marissa nodded slowly. He always said I was overthinking, that I didn't need to waste money on outside tests. The investigator's tone shifted, gentle but sharp. Ms. Hale, what we're examining is not just a misplaced device. This may be intentional bodily violation. Only a doctor would have had access to this type of equipment. And right now, the only person in that category is your husband. Marissa felt as if she'd just heard something she had known deep down, but had refused to admit. Investigator Donovan continued, "We ran the serial number on the recovered IUD. It originally belonged to the supply inventory of the clinic where your husband works. According to the records, it was marked as discarded on the exact day of your appendectomy." The connection made everything even clearer. "Do you know why your husband didn't want you to have children?" the investigator asked. Marissa shook her head. "No, but every time I mentioned wanting a baby, he always found a reason to delay." Then she remembered the pain, the gentle but unconvincing explanations, the way he always controlled her medical decisions. All of it formed a frightening picture. "We'll need your cooperation," the investigator said. "Based on what we have, we suspect this may not only be medical misconduct, it could be involuntary sterilization." Marissa looked toward the window, fighting the tightness in her throat. For half a year, she had sensed something was wrong with her body. Now she was forced to confront the possibility that the person responsible was the very man she had trusted most. Investigator Donovan closed her notebook. "We'll open an official investigation tonight. If you remember anything else, contact me at any time." When she left the room, Marissa leaned back against her pillow. She was no longer in uncertain territory. The situation had taken a precise and devastating turn. Someone had done this to her, and the evidence increasingly pointed to her husband. 2 days after the surgery, Marissa received a special authorization form from Investigator Donovan, allowing her to enter Leonard's clinic and examine the documents. The building security guard looked hesitant when he saw her. Still, once he noticed the investigator's signature, he opened the door without another word. Leonard's office was as tidy as every other time Marissa had seen it. The large wooden desk, the leather chair, the family photos on the shelf, everything familiar to the point of discomfort. But this time, she looked at it all as a stranger would. There was no sense of home, only unanswered questions hanging in the air. She walked to the safe beside the glass cabinet. The code was still their wedding date. When the door swung open, a chill ran up her spine. Inside was a thick file, organized by year. Marissa flipped through the pages and froze when she saw the line. Astra Shield A9123, destroyed. Signature, L. Hale. Her heart dropped. It was the exact serial number of the device removed from her body. She photographed every page with her phone to send to Investigator Donovan. But just as she was focused on the documents, the sound of the door opening startled her. A young nurse stepped in. The girl paused when she saw Marissa standing in the room. Mrs. Hale?" Her voice was small, slightly shaky. "I thought the room was empty. I came to grab something." The name tag read Jenna Ward. Marissa recognized her. She had seen Jenna a few times when accompanying Leonard. Back then, Leonard had introduced her briefly. New nurse, very quick with her work. Today, Jenna held a small box in her hand, quickly hiding it behind her back, but not quickly enough for Marissa to miss the familiar words on the packaging, pregnancy test. Marissa asked calmly, "What are you holding?" Jenna flushed, stepping back slightly. "It's personal. I'm sorry for intruding." Marissa looked at Jenna's hand, then noticed a thin ring on the girl's ring finger. The design resembled her own wedding band, only cheaper and with a much smaller stone. "Nice ring," Marissa said softly. "Who gave it to you?" Jenna hid her hand behind her back again, embarrassment clear on her face. "My boyfriend." Before Marissa could ask anything else, a woman's voice echoed from the hallway. "Jenna, Thanks again for the apartment situation. Without you and Dr. Hale, my kids and I wouldn't know what to do." A woman in her early 40s, with the rounded belly of pregnancy, stepped in. Marissa recognized her, a regular patient of Leonard's, Sandra Miller. Jenna hurried to pull Sandra out of the room, but the woman's words had already reached Marissa, clear and sharp. Her chest tightened. Jenna's appearance, the ring, the pregnancy test, and Sandra's gratitude, all of it formed a new picture. A picture Marissa had never once considered. Leonard wasn't just hiding something about her health. He might be living an entirely different life, an entirely different family. The door closed. But Sandra's words echoed relentlessly in Marissa's mind. She stood beside the open safe for a long moment, struggling to steady herself. The scent of betrayal had begun to surface, and this was only the first layer being peeled away. When Jenna returned to the clinic after speaking with Sandra, the brightness on her face had faded entirely. She stood at the threshold looking at Marissa with hesitant eyes, as if unsure whether she should enter. Marissa asked gently, "You hid the pregnancy test because you were afraid I'd find out something, didn't you?" Jenna froze. She clutched the small box tighter, staring at the floor as if unable to meet Marissa's eyes. After a long moment, she stepped inside and quietly closed the door. "Mrs. Hale, I'm sorry," Jenna whispered. "I know this is wrong. I just didn't want you to misunderstand." Marissa replied, her voice steadier than she expected. "Then help me understand." Jenna took a slow breath. I'm pregnant." That no longer surprised Marissa. The test had already confirmed it, but the truth she needed lay beyond that. "Who's the father?" Marissa asked directly. Jenna's eyes glistened. She looked around the room for something to hold on to, then finally spoke the words Marissa had already suspected. "It's Dr. Hale." Silence seemed to swallow the entire room. Jenna continued, her voice shaking but clear. "He told me you were infertile since you were young, that the two of you didn't live as husband and wife anymore. He said I shouldn't worry, that he'd file for divorce once things settled." Marissa felt her heart grow heavier, but her face remained calm. "Settled how?" Jenna bit her lip. "He said you were fragile, prone to illness, and that pregnancy would be dangerous for you. He said the two of you were better off living like friends. He spoke to me so differently. He was gentle, caring. I believed him." Marissa went still. In that moment, the betrayal wasn't the only thing that surfaced. Another truth rose with it. Leonard had deceived not just her, but countless other women using the same rehearsed lines. "How long have you and he—" Marissa began. Jenna exhaled as if releasing a burden. 5 years. Marissa sank into a chair. 5 years. During that time, she had lived with unexplained pain, while Leonard had lived with an entirely different family. "He said he would divorce me," Marissa asked. "When?" "When the baby is born," Jenna answered. "Mrs. Hale, I didn't know what he had done to you. I thought you didn't want children. I didn't know he had—" Jenna's voice trembled, then she forced herself to continue. "He and I already have 2 children together. Nora is 5. Finn is 3. They think their father works in another city and can't come home often." Marissa lifted her head. The words confirmed the darkest truth. Leonard had been living 2 whole lives, and she was the one left in the blind spot of his lies. Jenna's expression shifted, guilt flooding her face. "If I had known he did this to you, I would never have stayed." Marissa felt a sharp pain in her chest, but not because of Jenna. The pain came from realizing the betrayal had lasted for so long, and she had seen none of it. Still, amid the turmoil, Marissa said something that surprised even herself. "You're not the only victim here, Jenna." Jenna began to cry, and Marissa stood, feeling her legs unsteady as the last pieces of her old reality fell away. The whole picture had emerged, and now she had no choice but to move forward and confront the man who had destroyed both her health and her life. That afternoon, Marissa returned to the house where she had lived for 15 years. The home was as quiet as always, but the silence no longer brought comfort. She walked straight into Leonard's office and turned on his computer. The password was still her birthday, a detail that made everything sting even more. On the screen, Marissa saw a folder labeled Ever After. She opened it, and any remaining doubt vanished. Hundreds of photos of Leonard and Jenna, trips together, meals, and then pictures of 2 children laughing brightly in his arms. Every photo showed a complete family life, a life Marissa had never had. She opened the message files next. The words that appeared made it hard for her to breathe. Appendectomy is the perfect chance. She won't be able to have kids anymore. Don't worry, she thinks she's naturally infertile. When things settle, we'll be together officially. There was no way to soften these words. Leonard had deliberately harmed her health. There was no accident, no misunderstanding. Marissa printed a report, placed it into an envelope, then sat back in his chair. She left the folder open on the screen. She no longer wanted to run. The front door opened. Leonard's familiar voice called out, "Honey, I'm home. I brought you a little surprise." He stepped into the office holding a large bouquet of roses. But when he saw his wife sitting at his computer, the joy vanished from his face. His eyes darted from the screen to Marissa. "What are you doing?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Marissa didn't answer. She simply placed a transparent box on the desk, the box containing the device that had been removed from her body. Leonard immediately paled. "Where did you get that?" he asked sharply. "From the doctor," Marissa said, "and from my body. Do you want to explain?" Leonard stepped forward, trying to look calm. "You misunderstood. I did it because you wanted to keep me from having children," Marissa said bluntly. "Or because you wanted to build another family while I was in pain and had no idea why?" "Marissa, just listen. I didn't mean any harm. Things got out of hand." She shook her head. "You planned this. Your messages say so." Leonard's expression shifted, his voice rising. "You shouldn't have looked at those. You don't understand the context." When he tried to snatch the box from her hand, Marissa stepped back. Fear flashed in his eyes. Not fear for her, but fear for himself. Right then, a voice came from the doorway. "Mr. Leonard Hale, you are under arrest for causing severe bodily harm and for suspected intentional medical misconduct toward your wife." Investigator Donovan entered with 2 officers. Leonard spun around. "Wait, this is a misunderstanding. She's not mentally stable." "We have evidence," the investigator said, "including messages written by you." Leonard was handcuffed. As he was led away, he still tried to turn back. "Marissa, we can fix this. Don't destroy our family." She stood firm, her voice steady. "The family you're talking about never existed." The trial opened on a September morning. The courthouse hallway was more crowded than Marissa expected. Reporters, Leonard's former colleagues, and people simply curious about what had happened to a once respected doctor filled the space. Marissa sat in the front row, hands clasped to steady herself. She didn't look for anyone's gaze. Her only purpose was to hear the truth stated clearly. Leonard was brought into the courtroom wearing a gray prison uniform. He looked nothing like the confident man she once knew. His face was thinner, his eyes hollow. Still, he forced himself to appear composed as he took his seat. His defense attorney immediately stood and insisted this was a professional accident and a misunderstanding during treatment. But the argument fell apart almost instantly when the prosecutor presented the evidence. First came the medical findings. Dr. Celeste Harmon explained Marissa's condition during surgery: damaged tissue, prolonged inflammation, and precancerous changes. Her testimony brought silence over the courtroom. Next was the statement from Dr. Whitford, the first to discover the device inside Marissa. He spoke plainly. There was no medical justification for placing this device without informing the patient. This was not an error. This was intentional. People murmured throughout the room after that. When Jenna was called, she appeared nervous but resolute. Almost at full term, she moved slowly. But her voice remained clear. "He told me Marissa couldn't have children," Jenna said. "He said she was weak and doctors had advised against pregnancy. I believed him. I believed everything he told me." She paused to wipe her tears. "If I had known she was being hurt, I would never have stayed with him." The courtroom fell silent again. Leonard kept his head down. When it was Marissa's turn, she stepped to the stand with only a small sheet of paper containing a few notes. "I don't want to say much," she began. "I just want to tell the truth. I lived with someone I trusted completely. For years, I suffered without knowing why. Now I know what happened and why my life changed." Her voice didn't shake, only a settled disappointment remained. "I stand here today because I don't want anyone else to go through what I did." The prosecutor then presented copies of the messages Leonard had sent Jenna. The words spoke for themselves. No one in the courtroom could defend him anymore. The judge needed little time to reach a verdict. Defendant Leonard Hale is found guilty of causing severe bodily harm, intentionally concealing medical misconduct, and prolonged deception. The court sentences him to 7 years in prison, permanent revocation of his medical license, and financial compensation for the victim's treatment and emotional damages. Leonard did not look at Marissa as he was escorted away. The door closed, leaving a long, heavy quiet behind. Marissa sat back down, taking a deep breath. There was no triumph. Only relief, like setting down a burden she had carried for far too long. Justice could not erase the pain, but at least it returned the truth to her. 1 year after the trial, Marissa stood before the mirror in her new apartment. Morning light streamed through the expansive windows, bringing a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. She gently lifted the hem of her shirt and looked at the scars that had begun to fade. Her follow-up appointments showed that the precancerous condition had stabilized. The doctor said her body was responding well, and that gave Marissa confidence in the new path she was on. The most significant change wasn't her health. It was how she viewed the world. Before, Marissa always held herself back, always tried to please others. But after everything she had endured, she began giving herself the right to live honestly, to rebuild without fear. Through that journey, Dr. Grant Whitford remained by her side. At first, he was simply the physician monitoring her recovery, explaining every test result, reassuring her whenever anxiety crept in. But over time, a natural closeness grew between them, something neither of them forced, a quiet peace, so different from the years she had lived with Leonard. That morning, Grant walked in carrying 2 cups of hot tea. "You're up early again," he said, setting the cup on the table. "It's a special day after all." Marissa smiled. "I know." The appointment was to finalize the adoption of a 6-year-old girl named Luna. Marissa had met Luna during a support program for orphan children she joined after her recovery. The little girl had large, thoughtful eyes and a gentle, patient nature. When Luna held her hand during their first meeting and asked, "Will you come back?" Marissa knew her heart already had the answer. The living room door opened softly. Luna stepped out wearing the white dress Marissa had bought for today. "Miss Marissa, is my hair okay?" Marissa knelt down and adjusted the small clip. "It's beautiful, Luna. Today is our big day." The girl smiled and held Marissa's hand tightly. That simple warmth filled Marissa's chest. A year ago, she thought she had lost everything. Now she stood on the edge of a new beginning. That afternoon, after signing the official papers, Luna was given permission to call Marissa by a new name, Mom. The girl looked at her shyly before whispering, "Mom, can we go home now?" Marissa embraced her, realizing something profoundly true. She didn't need to give birth to a child to become a mother. That evening, Grant took Marissa and Luna to a nearby park. They walked along a quiet path, Luna running ahead. In contrast, Grant walked beside Marissa, saying little, but his presence was enough to make her feel no longer alone. "You've come a very long way," Grant said, "and you've done far better than you think." Marissa looked at Luna laughing in front of them, then at the man who had walked with her through the hardest months of her life. "I'm just learning how to rebuild a family the right way." In that moment, Marissa realized what she lost couldn't compare to what she had now, a new family built on respect, honesty, and genuine care. One late weekend afternoon, Marissa sat on the balcony with Luna, arranging the small plants they had bought from the neighborhood market. Soft sunlight filtered through the curtains, warming the entire room. Luna tended to the flowers while sharing stories from school, and Marissa listened with a patience she once believed she didn't have. Life wasn't perfect. Some nights, Marissa still woke suddenly, memories of her old life tightening her chest, the feeling of not belonging in her own home. But whenever the past tried to pull her back, Luna or Grant helped her steady herself, not with grand speeches, but with their steady, gentle presence. That evening, after Luna fell asleep, Marissa stood outside on the porch, looking at the rows of houses around her. She no longer felt trapped, no longer feared being controlled. She knew she had walked through a long, painful road, but also a brave one. Marissa began sharing her story, not to attack anyone, but to document a journey of growth. "The hardest part," she said, "isn't leaving someone who hurt you. It's facing the truth that you deserve a better life." She didn't try to hide the pain. What mattered more was what she found after the pain passed. A new peace, a real home, and a family built not from bloodline but from respect and genuine love. Marissa realized something. Older adults often endure silently, afraid of change, afraid of breaking what is familiar. However, the truth is that no one deserves a life built solely on silence and suffering. Family is not a place that terrifies you. Family is where you are protected, whether it's the one you're born into or the one you choose. She looked toward the bedroom where Luna slept soundly. At the end of it all, she thought, what remains isn't the betrayal, but how you rise afterward. She smiled softly, speaking into her recorder. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel so warning and healing stories like this can reach more families. I'd love to know what city you're listening from and what time of day it is for you. Thank you for spending this time with me. Marissa ended the recording, feeling a lightness inside her, as if she had finally put an essential piece of her past in its place. She had walked through betrayal, but what she found in the end was herself. Ki banko fan 11, gui toi sidich tiep chin sak, lien mach nu tren.